Shark was published by BBG Entertainment and was released on Xbox, Switch, and Steam on September 28, 2023 at a price of $14.99 here in the States. For this review, I'm using the Steam version, but by all appearances, it seems the game is largely the same no matter what you play it on. This game is an updated version of the original 1982 Shark for the Intellivision. It was originally announced for the Intellivision Amico along with many other titles almost 5 years ago in October of 2018, at a time when all Amico games would be system exclusives and cost no more than $7.99. It would later be shown in video form and then announced as one of the packing games for the Amico system, which has yet to be released and seems unlikely at this point to ever come out. The Steam description says the following: "You are a very ambitious little fish, surrounded by the gulping underwater crowd. There are nasty, sneaky, big-mouthed aquatic devils that would swallow you up in no time, plus the real slick, fast-turning sharks and other enemies as well that just love keeping you in their stomachs. But you're smarter, and sly-mouthed too. And why let them devour you?" Shark is a fish-eat-fish game for 1 to 4 players with one standard mode of difficulty that takes place on a variety of single screens. From the options screen, you can select in which modes you can eat other players, adjust the size of the menu, as well as adjust the volume of the sounds and music, see the rules and credits, and adjust the controls. No matter what game mode you choose, the play is basically the same. You start by selecting a fish type and color, although most will be locked to start with. In the game, you eat fish smaller than you, growing from time to time, losing a life if you touch something bigger than you. And by the way, most fish have 0 AI, meaning outside of the shark, big fish will not go after you, and small fish won't avoid you. Growing will enable you to eat larger fish worth more points, but you will also get slower as you grow. If you touch a fish that is the same size as you will bounce off of one another, which is nice since it can be hard to judge sizes in games like this one. Crabs can be eaten when they turn upside down after jumping, but only when you are big enough. Some enemies can send out electricity that if you touch will shrink you back down in size and temporarily stun you, leaving you open to attack. Shield power-ups fall from the top, and if collected, give you a temporary shield with a timer counting down under your name at the top of the screen. Shells on the bottom open occasionally with pearls inside that will give you points and help you grow if collected, unless it's the black pearl, which will give you an extra life if you lost any. If you are full of lives, it doesn't do much good. And by the way, the spiky shell is safe to touch, even though it may not look like it is. When you die, you turn into a bonefish, but if you have any lives left, you will return back to normal after a little while. Collecting the black pearl as a bonefish will cause your immediate return. Levels can have unique obstacles, like a squid that spits out ink, temporarily covering part of the playfield, and a spiky pufferfish that can enlarge. Of course, the real stars are the sharks. You can nip their tails for extra points, and if you're able to nip their tails enough, you can temporarily knock them out. But beware, as sharks can move pretty quickly at times. The game has 4 modes, all of which can be played with up to 4 players. The voyage mode is the main game. Here you play through 12 levels, divided into 3 sections of 4 levels each. In each level, you need to eat a certain number of fish to proceed, as shown at the top of the screen. The size of the fish doesn't matter for this, so whether you eat a large fish or small fish, it just counts as one. In the first section, you get 5 lives per level. That's right, your lives reset every level. In the second section, you get 4 lives per level, and the final section, you get 3 lives per level. Lose all of your lives, and you can simply try that level over again by continuing. Finish level 12 and you beat the game. High scores for the voyage mode can be seen in the Hall of Fame, selectable at the main menu. The Versus mode is for local multiplayer, where you can face your friends in a race to see who can earn a certain number of points first, or who can score the most points in a certain amount of time. The multiplayer mode appears to be the online Versus mode, which is advertised as being cross-platform. However, even though I could start a game, I was unable to find anyone to play with online, trying at 2 separate times during the middle of release day. I'll have more to say on this in a little bit. The high score mode is just what it sounds like, a single life attempt to score as many points as possible on one of the 3 selectable screens for 1 to 4 players. Graphically speaking, while I like the look of some of the characters, including the sharks, the backgrounds, while okay in isolation, don't really blend in with the foreground objects well, making it look like the backgrounds are just something being projected behind you rather than a part of the world you're playing in. Sound-wise, the game has okay sound effects, with growls alerting you of soon-to-be appearing sharks, but the pass the gas sound of the pufferfish, well, that's something. The music itself is fine but generic, which makes sense since it appears to be all licensed music, rather than original works by Tommy Tallarico, which was originally claimed. Family-friendly wise, the game received an E for everyone rating. However, spiritually sensitive parents may want to know that the game promotes Hinduism to a small degree in the ending. More on that later. So what do I think of Shark Shark? As a fan of the original game, let me say that I did get some enjoyment out of this modern take and it controlled well. But the game has several issues that in my humble opinion prevent it from being worth its full asking price. Perhaps the biggest issue is the length of the main focus of the game, the voyage mode. I was able to complete it all in just over 30 minutes, and that includes having to continue once. Most of the game is very easy. And most of the deaths came because the obstacles occasionally cornered me in with no room to really move. By the way, the shark, it can go right through obstacles if it wants. I also thought the game could have used some real boss battles, as simply collecting more and more fish as the game went on did feel tedious after a while. I also didn't like being punished for doing well by slowing my fish down as it got larger, even though the massive sharks, well, they can move really fast. Apparently this was done to help even things out among players in multiplayer games, but it just made my once nimble moving fish start to feel sluggish. Since I'm the main gamer in my house, and I try not to force my hobby on my kids or wife, I wasn't able to play local multiplayer for this review, so I was really looking forward to trying out the online multiplayer. However, the game does a terrible job letting you know how to connect with existing games, as there really isn't much of a lobby showing you how many players are currently online and what kind of games they are playing. I did notice one time one of the selectable levels had a white box around it. I don't know if that was to let me know someone was online playing on that level or just a glitch, and trying to connect to that mode got me nowhere. I'm sure, as with most games, this game is more enjoyable with other players, so I'll give it that, but it's very troubling I could not find any online on release day, and it does not bode well for anyone hoping to enjoy that feature. Now let's talk about the ending. If you don't want to be spoiled, skip ahead to the time on the screen. But the ending really isn't much. In the ending, you get a conch shell that is explained in text only as something tied to Hinduism that has supernatural powers when blown. The game then explains the benefits of chanting Om. There are so many problems with this ending. One, it's written like a short Wikipedia article rather than the ending of a story. Not that the game has a story. Two, it serves no purpose for you as a fish, since you can neither blow it or even chant Om or even pick it up for that matter. You're a fish. It would be one thing if you were on some daring quest and finding the shell somehow helped you overcome a big bad evil, but nope. All that happens here is the shell shows up and now it's on your title screen when you start again. And finally, 3, as a parent, I really don't like games introducing and promoting spiritual principles for a religion I don't practice to my kids, even if it's just in small bits. So much for not having to worry about the content of Amico games for my kids. There were some other minor problems too, like how the main confirmation button works for everything except selecting your fish, that uses a second button for some unknown reason, or how pearls disappear before the shell closes, or that when you put in a name, it forces you to put a 1 at the end of your name. However, this game still has some bigger problems I haven't even mentioned yet. One is that I managed to lose all of my unlockables when I discovered how to change my name after I beat the game. This seems to be tied to your name, so changing my name back might fix it, but it does seem like the game really needs a clear profile system to be put in place. Second, the high score mode, while enjoyable with working online cross-platform leaderboards, should really have two modes. One that is strictly a single player mode along with the standard mode that allows multiplayers, since other players could be used to distract the shark, helping the main player rack up more points. And it would be nice to see more of the rankings, as I could only see the top 6 players for each board. However, there's one more big omission, and that's that the original game is not included anywhere that I could see. Why you wouldn't include the original game boggles my mind, especially in a case where you're paying $15. This seems like a huge oversight. Obviously, a lot of this could theoretically be fixed through future patches, but that's not a guarantee, and I need to base my opinion of this game on how it was when I purchased it on release day. And overall, I just don't think it's a $15 game. I did get some enjoyment out of it, and if I kept it, I would play more of the high score mode for sure, but this is a game where I'm thankful Steam has a refund policy in place. Personally, I could see charging, I don't know, maybe $5 or under for it in its current state, with sales bringing it down even further, and if it ever gets that low, I may consider purchasing it for good, but this fan of the original Shark is going to recommend throwing this one back into the water. Shark offers some enjoyment, but has too many issues and not enough content to justify its current purchase price. That's just what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoy videos such as this one and want to support my work, please click like and subscribe, drop a comment below, and for mega supporters, either become a channel member or sign up at patreon.com/NoSwearGamer. Thank you for giving me a little part of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the next episode of the No Swear Gamer. Take care, everybody.